What's up, WrestleManiacs, and welcome back to another episode of Journey into Wrestling. It's Season 5, and it's Episode 10. I am your host, Nate. Today, joining me, as always, the Master of Perfection, 10. Welcome back to the show once again, 10. The man, the myth, the legend, Buckles. How's it going, bro?
If you keep doing the 10 gimmick, I'm obligated by wrestling law to wrap a badly gimmicked chair around Cody's head at some point.
And then flip the crowd off when they chant 10 at you. He did that actually at when we saw him in a dark match at Chicago. He did that to the crowd quite a bit. It was pretty good.
I will say I watched a little bit of AEW Dark last night, and Sean Spears had the high point of the whole show.
Nice.
He got thrown through the wall of the waiting room, Britt Baker's little talk show.
Nice.
It was cheesy as hell. He made almost like a perfect hole as he went through it. But yeah, he went through there like a torpedo. It was wonderful.
Excellent. Well, dude, Buckles, we're just going to break it to the crew like real because we do have a lot of different topics and things to kind of touch on today. There isn't really a form, a plan, an operative, a mode. The biggest thing happening in wrestling right now is Kenny Omega and everything he is doing.
Very true.
It is the number one story right now. It is what's driving more and more people to view Impact Wrestling, drive more people to view AEW Wrestling.
It drove a lot of people to view Impact last week. This week it fell off a cliff.
Uh-oh, did it really? That's
did.
actually surprising because I watched this week. I tuned in like a fangirl. I don't know how it could fall off. That's so weird.
Well, I would say part of it's the fact that other than Kenny being on the show, Impact didn't exactly put out their best effort card-wise that first night, so not a whole lot to hook you back in. Me personally, I have trouble watching because their Twitch stream is rough.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. The Twitch stream is awful. It's got a lot of glitchy, delayed audio to the video and stuff like that. I mean, not to say that we're perfect here. Sometimes our video and audio are glitchy, but they are a organization making money and, typically trying to put asses in seats. So when you see them struggling, I mean, I guess it just makes it all the more real.
It's just it's unfortunate because it's not even part of the wrestling aspect of the show, but the presentation during and like in between segments. I love me some Melissa Santos. She was great on Lucha Underground, but watching her in between the
it's awkward
on TV segments, her just like randomly talking about stuff was brutal. And partially because you could tell she didn't know what she was talking about
or what she needed to be saying on a stream when you're put in a weird position like that.
She was getting people's names wrong. She was like just kind of babbling over shit. Talked about WWE at one point and was like, "Well, no, fuck the haters." Like she was okay. No one is monitoring you whatsoever. Okay, it came off as like social media influencer trying to talk about wrestling while not having much theory or much idea of what's going on, which is unfortunate because she's married to Cage. She does know what's going on.
That's true. Well, maybe she doesn't, though. Maybe she's kind of clueless to it all, really.
Who knows? And then the other side of Impact that makes it difficult to watch on my end is Josh Matthews.
Awful commentary.
He's terrible. He is god awful.
Oh, it's bad.
Like, you can't really undersell how bad his commentary is. And, like, he sounds disingenuous. He sounds fake. Like, everything he says sounds complete. I guarantee that the announcing team for Raw and SmackDown, with Vince screaming into their ears and being scripted down to the word, comes off as more natural than anything that Josh Matthews has to say.
Do you know what I think is weird about that, though? Josh Matthews comes from the land of WWE. He was like a trainee of them and brought it. So he is broken on his own accord. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no fixing whatever causes him to not. I think it's, honestly, man, here's my opinion, man. I think Josh Matthews is one of those guys. He had the body type. A bunch of his friends said, "Oh, get on Tough Enough and do it." And he thought, "Oh, whatever, fucking, I don't even like wrestling, man." And then he got as far as he did, almost won the fucking thing. And then was like, "Oh, well, now I'm here."
Now I have to be involved in this.
What do I do?
And like, what sucks is they've had better obviously, Impact's had great announcing in the past.
Oh, for sure. Don West. I mean, you had Shivani was only there for a cup of coffee, as he said, and he quit the industry for 18 years, but I digress. You had Mike Tenay was there for a hot minute. Taz did commentary in Impact. I mean, they've had some stellar voices on commentary.
And truthfully, they even have guys like Matt Stryker come and do guest commentary on it now, and Stryker is miles better. People bag on Stryker a lot. I thought he was great on Lucha Underground. Him and Vampiro had
I've always enjoyed Matt Stryker, honestly. Like, I think he's an all right dude.
Stryker is a little hammy at times. Yeah. He gets a little wordy, but he actually seems like he cares. And that's part of it. Like, he's trying to make it better.
I need to tangent to something really quickly. I'm so sorry, but
I got one for you too. You're cool.
Okay. So this morning it was like I just woke up and fucking scrolling, and I happened upon, in one of the wrestling groups I'm in, a video of a wrestler who used to be top tier in WWE. Have you seen this video at all? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't believe that I do.
Okay.
Actually.
So I'm going to implore everybody, if you're watching at home or if you're listening on your little headphones in your car, you're on your, on your bike ride to work or whatever, unless it's fucking cold where you are and you're not riding your bike. That's stupid. Don't do that.
We're still in Indiana, so I guarantee you there are people who are riding out in the 3, 4, and 5 inches of snow. Guaranteed. In shorts.
Yeah.
Shorts and a hoodie. Damn
man. So, anyways, this video, the video looks like this guy who is a recovering crack addict or maybe a recovering meth head. Like, it looks really rough, and you're like, what in the fuck? And then when you click on it and learn who the person is, it's even more shocking because it's Charlie Haas.
Really?
And he looks horrible. He lost a ton of weight. He went through divorce. He's had to do the whole custody fight for his kids. Like, seriously, if you have an opportunity to watch it, it's saddening because he is a man.
I'm trying to remember.
I mean,
I could have sworn, and I may be way off base on this. I thought Haas had done some indie stuff.
Well, he is doing indie stuff.
I mean, indie stuff not all that long ago, where he was still in decent demand. I want to say he'd done stuff in Mexico, but I may be thinking of Mark Jindrak, who I know is in either AAA or CMLL. But I could have sworn Haas had some level of success and not too far ago. But
well, he's been doing a wrestling school, like he's got a training facility and stuff, and that's kind of his main MO. And he does the indie circuits in Texas and stuff. But man, just to look at that guy and remember like him in his prime at Team Angle, and then it's really unsettling, and I hope whatever he's going through, he gets better, man. Honestly,
I will say one thing I remember about Charlie Haas to date is that he still has one of my favorite submission finishers, the Haas of Pain, which was like this weird kind of like elevated, grounded figure, like reverse figure 4 thing that was really, really clever, actually.
Hell yeah. Continue.
I have a tangent on my own back at the announcing side of it.
Sure.
There was an interview recently with Mauro Ranallo about his time with WWE and why he had left. And not so many words. He made a few comments to the extent that it just wasn't the right fit for him. It wasn't the right place for him. He alluded to he needed to be left alone, is kind of the words he used. And a lot of people that had read the article and commented back took that to mean, well, that's the bipolar side. That is him, not taking criticism or, just leave me alone. I'll do it. Like the bullying thing that always seemed to kind of follow him around.
Yeah.
And I'm reading it. I'm going, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying, leave me alone. He's like, when you reach a certain professional level, you want to be left alone.
Just let me do my fucking work, man. You hired me. Let me do the work.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much that, he was being bullied or wanted to, get away from people or be left alone in that regard. I don't think he liked being micromanaged. And we all damn well know that the one thing that Vince McMahon is very good at, other than, showing his ass on live TV, is micromanaging. We know for a fact the announcers on both shows on Raw and SmackDown both are heavily to the word micromanaged at times, and Morrow does not seem to be that type. So he said he respects the hell out of people. He respects the hell out of Vince, and there was no ill will on parting, but it just wasn't the right feel for him. It was just it was an interesting read to finally hear, not necessarily a little bit of closure, but a little bit of light shined on
understanding of it. Yeah, totally. And then just to keep on the tangent of announcing stuff, we do have kind of a cool major announcement that's got some ramifications, and I don't know if you know about the shockwaves of this announcement, but Snoop Dogg is going to be appearing on AEW for the Holiday Smash, the New Year Smash or whatever.
Yeah, the week 2 or whatever.
But also allegedly joining commentary, and it could extend beyond just a one-time thing, is the rumor, okay?
I would love that.
So,
considering he didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he do, wasn't he a talking head or a commentator for the Roy Jones Jr.
Yes, he was.
Tyson fight?
He even performed right before the fight and got the whole entire. Yes, exactly, and that's where I was kind of getting at. But the ramifications of Snoop joining AEW at all are going to be felt in WWE, and the rumor has it that Sasha is going to get squashed like a bug, worse than Rusev at this point. Because Vince is furious that Snoop betrayed WWE, essentially is how he looks at it.
I'm sure he does, considering Snoop's a card-carrying Hall of Famer, for whatever that means.
So is Trump.
You would think that at some point Vince or someone around Vince would include him into the fact that Snoop just kind of does whatever the fuck he wants.
Absolutely,
that's kind of his MO. And Vince can be as pissed as he wants to be, and short of doing something to Sasha, I don't think Snoop's gonna care. I really don't think it's gonna bother him.
Well, and that's why they're saying that Sasha is probably going to be squashed. She's champ right now. She's probably not going to have the belt. Carmella, they even said, might beat her at the next pay-per-view.
That would be this weekend, I do believe.
And I mean,
there's also a really weird thing that happens when someone gets a little bit of credibility outside of WWE that Vince doesn't like and doesn't want to see happen. Maybe he squashes her because she's hearing Hollywood calling. There's a lot of we're going to cross into a little journey into comics here, but I know that there was a lot of things announced at the Disney conference call or investors call last week, including about, 9.5 billion fucking Star Wars shows, any one of which could see a Sasha crossover.
And then also thinking that Sasha is now a what we call in-house Disney talent because she's had that exposure. She could be in a Marvel show. She could lead one of the Marvel shows at some point, depending on what role they need her for. So, I mean, Sasha has opportunities beyond the WWE. I don't think it sucks for her, legacy of wrestling if that's how she ends up going out, squashed down to a bug. But then it really reflects on Vince because look at all the stars he's done that to in, the past 2 years.
I'm going to say that, let's say Sasha gets, drummed out of WWE for whatever reason, which would be a tragedy, would be bullshit for her. However, she's going to do all right because show me a wrestling promotion on the planet that will not roll out the red carpet for her in a heartbeat. Her following, some of the for lack of a better term, Sasha stans are some of the most prevalent and without putting too fine a point of it, she has a cult following in the way that certain other WWE Hall of Famers have a cult following.
I see. I see what you did there.
They're very dedicated.
I figured out the mystery on that 45th riddle you just sent me. In that gigantic house of white.
Well, not only that, but she has long said that she wants to do New Japan or wrestle the Joshi style. And she's gone as far as going to train with Meiko Satomura and her classes. So, I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to say that Sasha would jump at the chance to go do that if WWE cut her off. You could see Sasha in Stardom tomorrow.
No, you're absolutely right.
Imagine a better ambassador or a better promotional talent for Stardom you can't find.
No, not at all.
and tell me AEW, whose women's division is sorely lacking for most, would jump at the opportunity.
We'll talk about the women's division in AEW because there was some really giant, shining, bright light that happened this week that I'm actually quite impressed with. But I digress.
I do want to kind of transition into Dynamite tonight. Surely for the fact that I don't want to sit on the announcement for too long. I know for a fact that you missed the first half of Dynamite, so you missed an announcement that I actually get to break to you live on camera, and I want to get the reaction. I'm not going to sit on this too long. I have to get the opportunity.
Sure.
I hate to break this to you, but they're kind of scuttling another Brandy Rhodes storyline. The Shaq and Jade Cargill thing.
Okay.
Probably going to go by the wayside. The reason being, they had this really weird clip. They cut to this kind of like vignette of a Brandy and this puppy, I guess, putting ornaments on the tree at the Rhodes household.
Okay. Both
Cody and Brandy, both in full gear for whatever reason. Like Cody's wearing the full suit at their house. And it's this very Christmassy thing. There's no dialogue, just music. And I immediately think, well, they're talking about doing this Christmas story thing with AEW, which I'll get to in a minute. But I think maybe it's an ad for this or whatever. They go to they get a knock at the front door, and there's a little wrapped box. And Cody grabs it, and they walk in. Still no dialogue. They sit down on the couch, open it up, and inside is a couple little shoes and a little ornament that says "New baby coming 2021."
Oh, he followed the Moxley.
There's your announcement. Yeah. Hey. So they announced the next generation Rhodes, so as it were, the great grandson or great granddaughter could be of a plumber.
That's crazy.
So, that was announced tonight indirectly. So you did miss that. So I get the opportunity to announce that one.
That means that. Yeah, Jade Cargill can't really go beat the shit out of Brandy. It just doesn't really. I mean, they could also be playing a really dark angle.
I was just saying that would be. You might not want to touch on that. That's getting into Lita and Snitsky and you.
It wasn't my fault.
It wasn't your fault, but it wasn't anyone's fault that we had to watch it either.
You goddamn right. But
well, no, let me rephrase it. It was Vince's fault.
That absolutely. So that was the major announcement. What other things happened in that first hour? I came in and I'm guessing that some of that first hour was the 14-man major tag match they had.
Some of that
bleeding over.
There was also a 6-man with Hangman and Dark Order against the Hardy Party. Which the Hardy Party won. Party won.
Hangman with Dark Order?
Yeah, that was the joke. That was kind of like he needed a tag team, and they've been badgering him about it, so he finally said, fuck it, okay. So Reynolds and Silver came out in dusters and cowboy hats, too. And like the Kurt Angle stupid.
The Beef Boys are back.
Yeah, the Beaver Boys. So there was that. There was... Let me think here. They had Cody and Angelico in a match, which wasn't bad. They had Taz come out and confront Cody afterwards, and Sting shows up with the bat to run them off again, not saying anything, as usual. Just kind of shows up, does his whole entrance, shows up, looks not even down at the ring, but looks across the ramp because they've got those two, like the two conjoining ramps.
Yeah.
So Team Taz is on one, and here comes Sting on the other, and just kind of looks over and kind of waves. Gives Cody a wink and then leaves, and that was enough to run them off, apparently.
Huh. I like that they're using Sting every week. That's cool.
I really disliked the segment last week.
What?
As much as it was, okay, you had told me the week before that you really wanted to see Sting as this mysterious, dark character.
Sure.
And what did he do? He came out and hugged Shivani and led the crowd in, hey, can we get a It's Sting chant? Yay!
I mean, he went back to
so cheesy.
I think that's the evolution of him as a character, though. You got to think Surfer Sting, Crow Sting, you had TNA Sting, Joker guy, then the Hall of Fame shit, and then now you're at a point where he has done and seen it all. So he's embracing. You know what he's doing? Here's what he's doing. He's un-Undertakering it. Because Undertaker kept the mystique until the last possible second. Sting's like, you know what? I might have 1 year, 2 years left, but we'll pull the curtain back now, baby, and we'll just give you guys the peak scene.
Here's the problem with that is that none of what he said or did matches the presentation that they're giving him.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, I mean,
nothing says winter is coming in the vigilante with the bat, like the gentleman that sees you in the aisle at Walgreens and says, I haven't seen you in a few weeks. How are you doing?
No, man, I get it. I just think that Sting's going to turn it up when he's ready to turn it up. I think we've learned that with AEW. They might bring somebody in early, and we're like, what are they doing with this person? But then when the time is right, they strike really hot with them. And we've seen it a couple times already. Yeah, it's Sting, man. It's fucking Sting. They're not going to mess it up. He's not going to let them mess it up.
I'm not going to say they're messing it up. It's just a head scratcher to me.
Here's a match. Here's a match that I want to fantasy book just real quick. So this is after the Sting Cody angle. We don't need to sit on that for super long, but you know, you're not at Daly's place. You go to a video vignette, and it's the Hardy compound, and it's Matt Hardy, and a knock on the door, and there's a crow on the door with a note in its mouth. And then it's an invitation to the ring with Sting. And he's like, oh, Sting just invited me to the ring or whatever. So then Sting comes out, and you can actually get a red hot, like, not mean, but just mad enough Sting, where he says, you know, one of the most embarrassing moments in my entire fucking career. He wouldn't say fucking, by the way. It's Sting. He's not going to say fucking. Let's just be real with you there. He's not going to do it. Don't expect it. But he's going to go, the most embarrassing moment in my career was involved with your brother because he's a waste of talent. And I need to feel some satisfaction and right that wrong. And not to say that you're like him, but you're who's going to get it taken out on them. And then he beats the shit out of Matt Hardy in like a compound match where it's all cinematic. It would be fucking amazing. Are you kidding me?
I'll take the same two, but give you a little bit different. I want full-on Broken Matt versus Sting just to get the Lake of Reincarnation where we get Joker Sting, where we get Crow Sting, where we get Surfer Sting.
Yes.
And every time he comes out, he's got different color face paint on. Do that, and I'll be happy with it.
I'm about it now. See, I'm about it.
It's just it's a little off-putting to me to see him so casual.
Sure. Totally.
It's odd to see him being casual when they're still trying to present him as being a serious thing.
Sure.
So it's just it's a weird tonal shift that I didn't care for.
Sure.
They did have an interesting moment with it tonight where when he came out, there was only one member of Team Taz that everyone kind of backed off, except one needed to be held back and was going to go after Sting.
Ricky
Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs was not threatened.
I guess it makes sense, but like, I don't know.
Put the new guy over. He needs a character.
Sure, but
he needs a gimmick or character other than having the first name Powerhouse.
I mean, fair point.
Or maybe his first name's Power, middle name's House. I don't know.
Why did I
Power
just
H Power H Hobbs? There's your episode title.
Power H Hobbs.
Oh God.
Oh man,
what happens when I don't get enough sleep.
That's okay. That's a good one. We'll hold that in the Rolodex. We'll see if anything tops it. But I will say this. So the 7-man tag match, whatever, the Inner Circle one, I don't know where they're going with that.
I did like the continuity of having the beef between Wardlow and Hager still teased a little bit. Although Hager never needs to do an F5 again. That was awful. That was terrible looking.
Very bad. Very, very bad.
Yes, very bad. He just kind of dumped him out front.
But after that, I think the thing I really want to jive on about, because there was some cool stuff in Impact, obviously, or not Impact, Dynamite. I have watched so much wrestling, Buckles. My brain is frazzled with what I'm talking about this week. And that's pretty impressive. Like we're going to be later in the show, and I'm going to start bringing up promotions that I've watched this week. And even the listener and the audience are going to be like, who the fuck does this guy think he is taking Buckles' gimmick?
I know exactly what you're going to be bringing up, and I'm proud of you for it. And there was I like the angle to close the show. I thought the match with Kenny and Janela was what it was. Just Janela doing a hardcore match.
There was a pretty brutal spot though, where I thought he really broke his neck.
There is that. He also completely blasted Kenny in the head with the trash can at the outset of the match. Like that wasn't pulled at all. But the match was what it was. I love the idea of Phoenix getting the title shot next week because he never did lose in the tournament. That's great continuity for one.
Yes, absolutely right.
And it's great chemistry between those two because hey, Kenny does have a belt that he won off of Phoenix. And I've been saying for months now that I wanted to see Phoenix in the title picture. So I'm all for all of the above.
Hell yeah.
Should be a banger.
So
should be an absolute banger.
So before we dive further into Kenny Omega, because I want to kind of reverse pivot just for a minute back to one of my favorite segments on Dynamite tonight. Do you know what the segment was?
Can't say that I do.
Brother, let me just tell you, I loved seeing Thunder Rosa so fired up, and the angle they played with Britt actually had me like, fuck, I need to see that. They sold me on Britt more than I have ever seen. And do you know what I noticed in Britt Baker? The one thing I noticed, the minute, and when I say it, you're going to be like, fuck, he's right. The minute that Undisputed Era went more of a face faction, Britt has become like legitimately Adam Cole level evil. And she's starting to really play on it. Oh, yeah.
She's very much been getting coached at home, and it shows.
But it's good.
She's been better in the ring since coming back. Her match with legit Layla Hirsch was very good. We mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. But she's got her character work throughout all the time she was in the wheelchair. Did a great job. Even though the end of the Swole feud was kind of a dud with that dentist office match or whatever. That was kind of a dud itself, but the feud was really good. She's gotten that character. She nails that character. Her getting the waiting room talk show during Dark is very well done. It's cheesy as shit. It is it's set up like a sitcom. You can see the audience watching her outside. You can see people walking through a door into the room from outside. You know there's a freaking wall.
I love it. It's so kitschy though.
It is really kitschy. And really cheesy, but it works very well for her. She's got Reba Rebel as her kind of henchman, kind of that unwitting, like doofy henchman. Does really well. And she and Thunder Rosa have had some great interactions on Twitter, even the last couple of weeks. And then to a couple beatdowns or a couple pull apart brawls that have been very fun. So really, they may have their first truly great women's feud on their hands.
I absolutely agree. And then, of course, that just begs this really interesting question, and I know that it's kind of muddled right now. You've got Serena Deeb as your NWA Women's Champion. Hikaru Shida is still your AEW Women's Champion.
Yep, feuding with Abaddon, more
which
or less.
That is pretty cool. Abaddon is terrifying, and Ali does not like her at all because she's terrifying.
That makeup she has is choice. That's very good. She's not the fiend, creepy, cool. She's just, oh God, no.
She took all the black Swedish metal bands and said like, this is how to do like the best corpse paint.
She went to Norway and just went, fuck me up, fam.
Yes, that's exactly.
Like her gimmick is pretty much nope. she is a gimmick full of nope, in all the best way.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. But just to quickly go back just for 1 second on Thunder Rosa, she just cut a really impassioned promo. It was so well done. The timing of her getting like distracted and then beat down is again a really well produced segment. And I am very hopeful for that feud and what it means coming out of it, because I think it could mean in some weird way that maybe Thunder Rosa positions herself actually in a title position to go for the AEW title?
I know she has said herself that her contract with NWA is still another year at least. So, I mean, she could be working all of us very possibly. But if that's to be believed, then she's not signed with AEW yet, which makes this all the more interesting.
Correct. Now let's weave the thread together real quick here for the.
Well, there's also the thought that NWA is still kind of up in the air completely, so she's just doing what she can.
Oh, totally. And that's kind of what I want to get back to, kind of threading that needle in, because the question mark of NWA, but them still working with AEW is.
Wait, the question mark?
Aha. I didn't mean to do that, but
the karate.
Karate. Anyways, go ahead.
I was gonna say if they brought him into AEW, that gimmick would get over like hell.
The question mark versus Orange Cassidy, match of the year.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, just any question mark versus Chris Jericho.
The orange question mark. Oh my God, Y2J versus the question mark.
yes.
I'm here for it.
Aaron Stevens. I think Aaron Stevens would get over in AEW, and I'm not even a fan of his for the most part.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that.
But I'm all over the place. Go ahead.
But no, it's okay. But I'm going to thread that needle a little bit because AEW works with NWA. That's obvious. Now we know and we've seen it, and whether it seems like an invasion angle or not, Impact and AEW are working together in tandem. And I'm going to thread the needle even further because AEW is also working with AAA down in Mexico and facilitating some things there. So what we have right now is, and we talked about it last week, is the whole concept that Kenny is saying, I'm the belt collector. It's what I do. I collect belts. And at the time he said it, he was, Kenny 2 belts. Thing is, he went down to Mexico and defended that title against Laredo Kid. And let's start there because just real quickly, one of the best.
I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I'm throwing that out there. I haven't had a chance to watch it
It's okay. But it is still one of the best matches I've seen Kenny Omega do. And it just proves again, when he's given just that little extra boost of time and the trust to just do his style, he knocks it out of the ballpark with anyone. So let's set it up a little bit. Kenny Omega comes out as champion with Michael Nakazawa.
Of all the people to corner him.
Okay, sure. But Laredo Kid comes out with Vikingo, okay?
Who's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Vikingo is fucking awesome.
We'll get there. It was a very, very, very well-paced, thought-out match. A lot of great action, spots, moments. There was some cool outside stuff that's just mind-blowing. Vikingo and Michael Nakazawa get involved at one point, and there's like a crazy off of a forklift move that's mind-blowing. I'll leave you guys to watch it. But all in all, I just kept sitting there watching Kenny going, this fucking guy, he has that X factor, and the fact they did it the smart way. Okay, and what do you mean? Who did what the smart way? AEW booked him right. Brought him in. He's nice. He's the new one of the faces of the company, EVP. Things don't quite go right, and he starts to fall off the rocker. But it's not fall off the rocker. He is wiping the fake shine they lustered on him, giving him that title of EVP off to go back to who he really is, the cleaner. And this really vicious, super aggressive, well-thought-out professional athlete, and he kills it. And that AAA match we're going to be doing awards soon. It definitely.
It's on my list to watch this weekend. I'll definitely
be
checking it out.
But I'm telling you, it's going to go in match of the year for you. It might not win, but it's going to be in that category because it's fucking great. I loved it, and hopefully I wasn't just like blazed out of my mind and miswatched the match. I don't think I did. I was really into it. I was like, I took screenshots of the fucking match, people, on my phone.
I do have to say, as a quick aside, I've seen some highlights of some of the other stuff that night. Did you watch any of the rest of the show?
The only other match I watched, and this was just timing.
I'm trying to remember what was the name of the show?
Whatever it was 27 or 28. It was the 27 or 28th one. I'm terrible with names too, But they had something, and I had actually read about this before I watched the event, that Marvel and Disney are in talks or talking about planning to do a Lucha Libre Wrestling League where all the performers are superhero based. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
They did that. This was like the fucking pilot episode 1 of that. And you had your Captain America and your Spider-Man in a tag team match against Venom and Thanos, or Terror Purpura.
So my question has to be here. Do you know who played who?
No idea who anybody under the masks were.
I do.
Oh!
One of them, the gentleman playing the Venom analog, I'm not familiar with. I will say that.
Sure.
However, you should have recognized Thanos.
Who?
Cage.
It was Cage?
Oh, yes, very much so. He finished with a drill claw.
I didn't even put that
that
together.
That was 100% Cage.
That's great.
The Captain America analog was Daga of Impact, of MLW, and of
nice.
LA. And the Spider-Man analog, did you notice, was rocking the Ben Reilly look?
Yes.
So full body suit, covered any noticeable tattoos, covered any noticeable hair coloring, anything like that.
Was it Ray Phoenix?
It was not. Leo Rush. That was Leo Rush.
This is my face
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah. Because Leo Rush has blue hair right now and has a ton of tattoos. So to keep it, that's why the Ben Reilly look.
No,
So, yeah.
that was
So Terra Purpura was Terra Machina.
It was cool. It was really a fun match. It was unique in what it did and how it was, and it is a little corny because it's superheroes. But here's the cool thing: after the match, and actually, let's see if you can tell me this. Then
I don't know who the last one was.
Okay, so I'm glad you didn't spoil it and just say what I'm about to say, because that would have took the piss out of my sails a little bit. I was like,
we work together here.
That was good. It was good. So, so Cage, or let me hold on. Venom and Terra Purpura are beating the shit out of your Captain Spider-Man after the fact, and they won. The villains won the match,
right?
And I'll say villains, not heels. These are villains, folks. Let's get it right.
Right. Rudos, as it were.
Yeah. And then the lights go out, and then when they come back on, a fucking badass looking female ass woman ass looking ass motherfucker is Captain Marvel in the ring, looking dope as shit. And I was like,
I know who that was, I have to say. So you can tell just based on the names in the match how good the quality would have been. They're alone. I do have to ask. You said you watched those two matches. Did you watch the main event?
I missed the main event, not because I wanted to, but yeah, had dramas.
I haven't seen the whole match. We don't really talk about AAA very often, but it was Pagano versus Chessman in a hair versus hair match.
Yes.
And they're both Joey Janela type, or they're not the greatest technical wrestlers, but they do crazy shit.
Yes.
And I've seen a clip, one of the spots that Chessman, who ended up losing the match, did a suicide dive through the ropes to try to land on Pagano on a set of chairs that were sitting up, and Pagano moved, and Chessman, ate it face first into an open chair off a dive. It was horrific looking. If I can find it, I will.
Please link it. Link it to me during the show if you even can. I will watch it. And you guys can see me go, what the fuck? Okay,
You'll have to give me some time.
I will give you some time, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what Kenny Omega's doing, because here's the thing with Kenny. I said he was on Impact last week. We covered that. He was a little aloof. They said there was going to be a major announcement on Wednesday, and he was a little aloof. And it's all this aloofness until he also showed up at Final Resolution and had an awesome moment with Carl Anderson, which is cool. And they got to chatting, and that was cool, and it had a nice old-school Bullet Club kind of vibe. And then this week on Impact, Kenny Two Belts, was out and was in his bus watching or whatever, and Carl Anderson had a match against Chris Sabin, I do believe, of Motor City Machine Guns. And essentially, when the match was over, you had Rich Swann come out, and then there were some backstage shenanigans, and Doc Gallows comes out, and then here we go. Kenny Omega comes out and beats the shit out of Rich Swann. That's important. Rich Swann is your Impact World Champion, and right now Kenny Omega, AEW Champion, is aligning himself with those good old brothers. And what happened right after was this. Announced for the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, Saturday, January 16th, live on pay-per-view, Kenny Omega and the Impact World Tag Champions, the Good Brothers, will be facing Impact World Champ Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns in what is going to be, honestly, a banger, classic, one hell of a match. It's early in the new year, and it will already probably be a match of the year contender, in my opinion. Buckles, did you find it for me?
It is sent to you, my dude. And I'm also retweeting it right now.
Okay, excellent. See, look how Buckles is multifaceted. He's doing like 8 things on the podcast all at the same time. He's like the pro of pros. But anyways, yeah, man, I've been watching a lot of wrestling. The Kenny stuff has been exponentially nifty. I loved that after they beat the shit out of Rich Swann, it was, they dropped the word Bullet Club, and they did the For Life. And that was sick. I was like, oh, fucking shots fired. Here we go.
So you'll have to give me 1 second here.
Sure.
So that link I just sent you is the Chessman Dive.
Okay.
I actually expected Rich Swann to be interfering in the show today. I thought that was what was going to finish the Joey Janela match.
Holy shit! What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. So for those of you who aren't able to watch this live feed, I don't know if you can get that up on the video at all. Hell, you might just put it up to the computer. My God.
I don't know how well it's going to come across, but kinda.
God, decently.
He eats it like shit, bro. That's an awful spot. Oh my God.
That tweet has been put up on our official Twitter as well. So if you don't have a chance to watch the live feed here, go check out the Twitter, JIW1JIC. It is live now. What not to do with the dive.
1-0 fucking 1, bro.
Yes. Like I was
there's another how not to dive 101 that's just as bad. See Undertaker, WrestleMania 25, I think it was. Shawn Michaels.
Well, I'm gonna send you something real quick if I can find it on my phone. So I actually have a screen grab of it. Shotzi Blackheart. I gotta see if I can find it here. One of the worst takes on a dive I've seen in recent memory. One of my first Shotzi Blackheart matches that I've gotten to see. I gotta find it here. Talk amongst yourselves. No, Shotzi goes to dive into someone and ends up going through a complete row of chairs.
Oh no!
Yes, very much so.
Ugh.
I have to find it.
Not a fan.
Where are you? I will find it and send it. I will send it to you as soon as I can.
Sure, but as he was saying, folks, just as a quick aside, please do check out our Twitter. That's JIW on JIC.
Here we go.
As he finds it.
This is one that I actually made a GIF of myself, so I still have it on my phone.
Nice.
I just had to figure out what the hell folder it was in. So this is Shotzi, being the ballsy badass that she is, sent to you now as well. Very similar.
We're going to get my face in real time yet again as soon as it pops up.
And actually, if you want to see this on a big screen, this was from the Evolve show that went up on... It was the Evolve anniversary show that WWE aired about a year or so ago. It was kind of a special event. It was a Shotzi Blackheart match, I think, against Austin... not Austin Theory, but... another gal who is now signed to WWE. But yeah, Shotzi stage diving into about 2 rows of open chairs. Did you see it?
It's not loading on my messenger yet. It's taking a minute.
Okay.
That's my phone, not you.
That's all right.
So.
Yeah, Shotzi got my respect from that alone. But yeah, you really there was even some legit controversy over dives recently as well. Did you hear the JR thing?
Oh yeah. He called out the okay. I'm glad we're talking about this because this is a little controversial, but I'm gonna share my viewpoint because I kind of happen to, in a weird way, agree with JR. And what I mean by that
I don't
is
disagree with him
because I have noticed a trend in the past 5 years where if somebody's gonna do a super crazy spot, 18 people are out there to catch him on the spot, and it's like, it's not, okay, you just did a backwards dive into all your fucking friends' hands. It's not that spectacular anymore, and it takes the luster and the shine and the speciality of those moves away.
Yeah, it's really something that comes down to, and I agree with JR as well, actually, that it's okay if you get it once in a blue moon, once in every show or something like that. But when you're getting him every freaking match, or you see it every show, yeah, it does take some of it away. The Shotzi thing went through. Yeah, okay.
Oh, my God.
Shotzi's a tough chick. Yeah. So again, this is, if you want to see that one live, that's on the Evolve anniversary show that WWE aired. It should still be on the network.
You could also tweet it if you're feeling it.
I will. I've tweeted it before, actually. That's why I had it in the first place.
There you go.
There you go. Actually, I screen grabbed that because I put it up on the Facebook feed. It's one of the first things I put up on the Facebook page.
Oh, hell yeah.
So,
hey, we're live, pal. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's all right. And I've lost track of my train of thought. No, the dive thing, the spots like that, the Tower of Doom thing, where you get in a multi-person match where there's a 6-man power bomb off the top rope.
Oh yeah, and they stack it, and it's crazy, and everybody. Oh my God, it's like,
it looks cool. It does look cool, but you lose something when it's happening every match. Even just a regular suicide dive is kind of loses its luster because everybody fucking does them, and not everybody does them well. Arguably the best one right now, the only person I would like to see continue doing these dives is Darby Allin, because he's the only one that looks realistic while he's doing it.
Like a dart being thrown at a dartboard.
I read something the other day that Darby does his dives not with the intention of popping a crowd or showing. He does those dives with the intention to hurt. Like, they are a move in the arsenal.
Yes.
That's cool. Especially when he pulls them off the very beginning of the match where he just comes out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Hits you like a train, man.
Good old skateboard Sting special. Yeah, getting back to the larger point of Kenny and the belt collector bit, I thought that Rich Swann was going to come on to kind of advance that angle tonight on Dynamite. I think they kind of probably should have.
Oh, I'm sure before it's all. Actually, you know what they'll probably do is have him come out during the Phoenix match. That's the next time Kenny's defending the belt where it'll actually matter. That'll feud into the Hard to Kill pay-per-view 3 weeks away.
It depends. It would work if he cost Kenny the belt, but we know that's not going to happen.
Well, no, but you don't even necessarily need to cost him the belt as much as you need to come out after the fact and just get in his face or whatever, and like cause a ruckus, because that's something. Listen, as of right now, Kenny's the crossover king. And no one else has crossed over yet, though. And I mean, we've had the rumor.
It's going to happen. But...
Exactly. But we've had the rumor like, oh, well, the Good Brothers are who took Mox out. It wasn't Kenny.
Right. We haven't seen anything to that effect yet.
And you said it, Rich is probably going to need to do something soon. My question is, and I need your opinion on this because it kind of pissed me off. Are they fucking up and delegitimizing the validity of the AAA title by not having him also have it on Dynamite?
No,
especially if he's going to be the belt collector.
I would have him come out with it probably, but not defend it or whatever. I would have.
Oh no, sure. That's what I mean. Just have it like on him.
It does strike me as a little odd. I would have Callis come out and holding it. Like have Callis come out, kind of like Heyman used to do it. But yeah, I mean, especially considering they've had him defend that belt on like Dark before. They've had him. I think they've had him defend it on Dynamite before.
Yeah, he.
But
I can't think who he defended it against.
I don't either. I know the one defense that I saw was the live show I was at was him and Jack Evans on Dark. But yeah, I don't know that you have to have him defend it so much as just have it shown, have it appear. They don't seem to really be doing that. It's weird because they don't really seem to be doing the belt collector gimmick on Dynamite like this
yet.
Yet.
And I think
like,
that's got to play in with the whole Tony Khan thing, which I love that, by the way. They bought space for video ads, and then the ads are them burying Impact to further the feud. But like I think you said last week, put Tony Khan in a really weird position where he's a good, bad guy, bad, good guy kind of thing.
Not so much. I think the only thing I really learned from those ads is the storyline they want to pit Impact and AEW against each other, but what role the face plays on that has to do with what show they're on. Of course, he's going to be a face on AEW. He's going to be a heel to Impact.
Sure.
But it's also proven the fact that outside of these kind of gimmicky, goofy things, Tony Khan does not need to be a speaking personality.
No.
He does good at this. He's fine at this. He doesn't need to be doing anything else.
Please God, no. Don't do anything else.
And I love the fact of, again, I've talked how much I enjoy Shivani on AEW. He's the one that legitimately seems like he's enjoying himself the most. And he seems to be enjoying those ads like hell too.
His interaction with Callis tonight was pretty interesting.
That was what I was getting at. That was wonderful. He's like, "Yeah, screw you, buddy. Go away.
Kiss my ass," is what he said.
Kiss my ass, Callis. Yeah, I love it.
And that was cool too because it showed that Tony's not a pushover.
Right.
And I loved that. I love that. Like, who the fuck are you talking to? But then I also love Don Callis and Kenny calling the match on microphones.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Leo Rush did it first. That was Leo Rush and Lashley first.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Although it was bothering me how much Don Callis was saying "by God" in that
after
match.
every
that's
move.
a Tope con Hilo, by God. Like, okay.
It's actually a Tope con Hiron.
Yeah, I will say he does. There's one thing he's doing. I noticed someone who was talking to Pac at the end of the show that is a great heel tendency or great heel quality and a great heel mannerism.
Sure.
Because it pisses everybody off when it happens to them. You notice he calls everybody kid?
Yes.
That's something that I'm watching, like, I hate him. Because when somebody does that to me, I hate that.
Pac was giving these evil. I tell you what, I don't know. Like, I know obviously AEW is a really big, beautiful family of wrestlers who have like this like creative gel together, and I love that energy. But I also think that some of their stuff is really well done because they don't always let everybody in on everything. And do you think that Pac and Don Callis sat down and said, "This is what I'm gonna say to you, man. I hope it's okay"? No. Don was on the fucking fly, just riffing. Just
I can see Callis going, "I'm gonna piss you off." Just
a warning. I'm gonna say some. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be kind of a dickhead, but I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna say because I'll tell you when I get out there. I'll know what I'm feeling and how to push the story. And he's doing a great job. And then again, here we are. It's Wednesday night. We're a little day late, dollar short on the releaseage of the episode, which is what it is. But this makes you want to watch more Impact and more Dynamite to see what is going to actually happen, which is the plan. And like I said, you already have the cross-pollination of NWA in there. How interesting would it be if they played their own invasion angle like WWE did, like I rebooked and have been rebooking, but they do it much better, much cohesive, and for the now, that actually makes sense where two separate entities are learning how to cohabitate. And this brings me to the grand scheme, Buckles, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm just going to pat myself on the back because I know I said months and months and months ago, "Hey, Abby, how's it going, doggo?"
My hand being licked over here.
Months and months and months ago, I said, how does WWE get beat? And it was if all these little guys band together.
Yeah.
The coalition, really absolutely. And here it is coming to light. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Last week, Impact did better than this week Raw. Raw score a lower rating than Impact. Or not Impact, Dynamite. I keep fucking that up. I'll fix it.
I was gonna say Impact scoring better than Dynamite's this thing, yes. I wouldn't be hard pressed to say that we would get better ratings than Raw.
But I'm pretty sure I just did see though that Raw lost to Dynamite.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
It would not at all surprise me.
Because this week's Raw was like the lowest rated Raw in 15 years or something. There's some headline there that I just saw.
That I'm not aware of.
Yeah, it was really bad.
I can't say that the ratings were that bad. The quality of the show, Raw is just boring. It's just flat out boring.
Raw is bore.
Yep. Oh, damn it. That might be a better title. Damn it. No, it's almost sad because you titled the episode that implies that we're going to talk a lot about it, and I really don't have that much to talk about with Raw.
We're not going to talk a lot about it. And actually, weirdly enough, I think there's an episode in season 2 that's Raw is bore, so I don't think we can double down. So I think that's all right.
So just the rundown of what I even remember from Raw 2 nights ago, I told you about the really stupid Nia Jax line of the boobs on her back. They kept playing that up. They ran that whole segment again. But
fucking Vince.
They had this long drawn out angle of Nia putting Lana through tables and bullying Lana, and Lana's going to come fight back. And really, what's the payoff to that? Logically, the payoff is the two of them in a match with Lana going over, right?
Yeah.
On a pay-per-view, that's it in the hopes that people are buying into it enough to want to see it, but that's the logical endpoint. Well, we got the match. It just wasn't at a pay-per-view. And it only lasted about maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And it ended with this really creepy sex position-esque pin that Rusev took credit for afterwards. Like,
I saw that.
I taught my wife that pin.
Last night. Yeah. I showed her that pin last night.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Yes, Lana went over, but then immediately got annihilated by Nia and Shayna Baszler.
But that was a storyline writing her out of a real injury, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I just saw that they had to pull her from TLC because of a legitimate injury.
If they did because of an injury, that would make more sense. But I haven't heard anything to that effect myself. I may be out of the loop on it, but just going by what I saw, what they aired on TV was they pulled her out of the match for no apparent reason after, she got her moment to shine and then immediately got the shine taken off and then pulled out of the match and then gone. So all of that for ostensibly nothing.
Yeah, here, according to comicbook.com, sorry to cut you off. I just want to confirm this really quick. Lana was officially pulled from Sunday's TLC pay-per-view this week after she was brutally attacked once again by Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. After being bullied for over 2 months, the Ravishing Russian was supposed to be on a team with Asuka to face Jax and Baszler for the tag titles. In recent weeks, she had repeatedly managed to get the best of the two, but it's been a full day, and she hasn't said anything on social media, so it seems that it is unclear currently if it is legitimate injury or if this is just WWE getting a chance to bump that storyline out to a later date.
I'm gonna venture and say that because there was I've seen no rumor to her having an injury, and most of the stuff I follow is Meltzer and the credible stuff.
Sure.
So as credible as you want to say Meltzer is, but I don't know. It seemed for all the world like they're just going, well, that's the end of that. And I mean, to the extent where they're wondering, okay, who are they replacing Lana with? Is it going to be, they brought Dana into it, and then they brought Mandy Rose back into it out of really nowhere. And there's people wondering if this is how they're going to bring Charlotte back. And yeah, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. It was all very dumb.
I saw there's a rumor also that Charlotte is going to possibly get teamed with Andrade.
I mean, there's some smoke to that fire in the sense that they're legitimately together, but the issue you have with that is the fact that that Vince and management are high on Charlotte and don't seem to give a shit about Andrade. So that's not really helping him at all, or that's helping him, not helping her at all.
Correct.
You also had the angle of Bray Wyatt and Orton, which involved a game of hide and seek, and then involved Bray getting locked into a wooden trunk by Orton, who set it on fire because apparently when it comes to Bray, he becomes a giant pyromaniac. And then the Fiend popped out of the box instead, and that was how they ended the show. They've finally figured out, hey, we can do shit like that now. 6 months, 8 months after the Thunderdome, they finally realized, hey, we can do these weird cinematic things.
These clowns, man. Ugh.
Yeah, it was a mess. I guess New Day and Hurt Business are still feuding because they're the only 2 tag teams left. I don't know what's going on with Retribution because that doesn't really matter. They're feuding with Ricochet, but it seems like they're already doing stuff that might lead to the breakup, where Ali is really hard on the 2 people there, or the people in the ring. It's all very, very dumb. You have the main event angle of McIntyre versus AJ Styles at TLC, which is a good match, but then they're shoehorning the Miz and the Money in the Bank contract into it, which also involves Sheamus maybe turning, maybe not turning. We don't really know. Keith Lee is somehow involved in it now. There's also the very strange thing from Raw, the rumor. Did you hear about the Keith Lee rumor?
That he got sent back to the Performance Center for more training, yes.
Yes, along with Dio Madden, along with Baba Tunde, or I guess whatever, Dabakato, or whatever the hell his name is, and the giant friend of AJ Styles, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. Omos is what I think they're calling him. But there's been all these talk of him being sent down there for it, and this furthering his training, but no real indication as to why that was necessary.
Yeah.
So you have people wondering, did Vince give up on him already, or does Vince not like him? Are they trying to change, what he does, which is very good and what brought him to the show in the first place? Or is it they just think he needs a little more seasoning to get a certain angle over, or maybe it's his promos? We don't really know anything about it. It's all very strange. Yeah, it's all very weird. And that's pretty much everything I remember from Raw. Matt Riddle's still on the show. His existence still annoys me.
Okay.
You have Goldberg somehow talking about wanting a match with Reigns, because booking your SmackDown title holder into a match with Goldberg at a pay-per-view, that went really well for Bray.
Ugh. No.
Yeah.
Can I say that bothers me too? That they did a WWE Untold on the 173 match winning streak that Goldberg never really had. Come on, dog. You can't hype that number up, that fake fucking number, like it's still real. We all know it's fake, dog.
Well, there's also the fact that Asuka broke it, so you've got the better record, and you've got her teaming with Lana in a stupid bullshit angle. So, tell me more about how you value that streak. Over on NXT, they're booking their New Year's Evil show.
Love the name.
Yep. They have Gargano is now leading his own faction called The Way.
Yeah, like that song from the 90s.
I was just going to say Fastball wants a check for that.
Yeah.
But
everyone knows the roads they walk on are paved in gold, man. Come on.
I'm gonna tell you something I read this evening in the summary of NXT, and it's gonna get the almighty eye roll from you. I guarantee you.
Be careful. I might walk off the show.
Austin Theory is part of this faction.
Okay.
His finisher of late has been just a straight up TKO.
Okay.
Prior to leaving, he called it the ATL.
Okay.
Based on what I read on Cage Side tonight, I don't know if they mentioned it on the show or not, but apparently he is now calling the TKO the quote unquote, "This is the way." Bye, Nate. Yeah, I hate it too. I fucking hate it too. It's like naming a finisher the Baby Yoda. It's terrible. It smacks of just headline chasing, and I hate it. I have to wait for Nate to come back now. Yes, I'm still talking. I'm covering dead air here. I am covering dead air to make this show good, Nate.
I'm glad because that pisses me off. Okay, let me say this. I get Johnny Gargano as a fan of nerddom.
Yeah,
but not every fucking thing this kid does has to be fucking nerd. It's pissing me off, man. Stop taking my culture.
I know.
Like, dog, The Mandalorian is only 2 fucking seasons old. You're going to call your faction The Way? You're going to have your dude in the fucking thing call his move, this is The Way? Come on, get the fuck out of here.
To be fair, they've been hyping the Gargano Way. It was him and Candace. They've been doing that for like 6 months now. It's been the Gargano Way. So that it makes more sense, I guess. The faction name itself doesn't bother me necessarily. But calling it This Is the Way is really on the nose.
It's too on the nose, man. What are you going to do next? Bring out a character called Boba Fett to join your fucking faction?
Their logo is going to be Baby Yoda. Yeah.
I will drop kick a baby fucking Yoda. That's your episode title. I'm a drop kick Baby Yoda, motherfuckers. Like, that's how I feel.
That's a GIC title. Come on, man.
I know it's a little crossover here. We're a little bit of rock and roll with that hip hop soul, you know.
You could also just title the title of the episode, Nate Walks Off the Show.
There you go. That's a good one because I definitely did that. That pissed me off, man. I wasn't sure what you were going to say, and I didn't really know. Like, I didn't know how I would react, but, man.
So we also have Karrion Kross is back and going to have a match with Damian Priest. We also have
a Kross versus a Priest. I bet the little boys lose.
Buzzing. On the note of good things, at least, we do have a title match now for New Year's Evil.
Oh,
rematch. Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly.
Hey, Kylo's going over.
Yeah, I'm honestly tempted to say that may happen.
Kyle, just you heard it here first, folks. Nate's intuition, which a lot of times is right. I'm kicking it in. It's saying he's walking away with that gold.
There's 2 things that complicate it to me. I'd love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I want to see that.
Sure.
2 things complicate it. One, they're teasing Balor and Kross already. They've already teased that last week. You don't tease it and then not do it. The other thing is that the Undisputed Era, if Kyle wins the title, that's your breakup angle for Undisputed Era.
Yep.
I don't know who goes. I'm not going to say who goes heel, who goes face. But that's your breakup angle. But right now, they're still feuding with Pat McAfee's group, ostensibly. So I'm not sure if that's done yet. If that's not done yet, you don't break up the team.
Let's talk about that. You brought up Pat McAfee for a second. I just want to bring this guy up for a second. He has had, in the past month and a half, more praise from actual talented promo guys than more pro wrestlers in the industry today, and that's saying something.
Austin was hyping him up on ESPN the other day.
He is a fucking legit promo. He has whatever, and we talk about it all the time on this show, whatever that intangible is that makes wrestlers great on the mic, McAfee has it. And it's really really kind of a crazy, beautiful story when you think this guy had a career in the NFL, National Football League, and he's not becoming Kevin Green or Mongo McMichaels. He's actually making the craft better and bringing his best, and it shows. I think Austin's word was that he takes it seriously.
Yep. He gives a damn. And this is coming from somebody who's been a McAfee fan for a long time, not just as a fan of the Colts, grown up in Indianapolis, but I'm a big, in terms of radio, I've been listening to Bob and Tom since I was a kid. My dad used to listen to it with me.
There you go.
And I still listen to him every day. Well, McAfee actually lives down the road from Bob and Tom. He was on their show multiple times. Just as a friend of the show. He's done enough stand-up comedy where he's got his improv skills down really well. And doing all that stuff with Bob and Tom on the radio is what led him to do the Pat McAfee Show podcast. That's how, honestly, I knew the dude had bought a ring, because a wrestling ring for his house, years ago because he talked about it on the show.
Yeah, and of course that show is where we have this amazing Adam Cole moment that seemed.
I'm talking about. He talked about it on Bob and Tom.
Oh, he talked about it on Bob and Tom.
He talked about it on Bob and Tom, but yeah, then that led to him going to Barstool Sports, which, for those of you in media, Barstool Sports is someplace you don't deal with anymore because Barstool Sports is full of chauvinistic ass bags.
Oh yeah.
But he left Barstool because he's ostensibly not a chauvinistic ass bag. And started his own podcast, which got him on WWE's radar, which led to him appearing at the NXT show that your boy got to go to.
That's so random. It was just a house show too, right?
Yep. It was just a house show, and all he was going to do, all he did was he was the guest announcer, ring announcer for Adam Cole versus Aleister Black. And this is not long after both of them had just started.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little bit longer. I think Cole wasn't in the title picture yet.
But he was probably in the North American title.
This was yes, still the North American title hadn't been introduced yet.
Okay, so it was like because it was like the November before that or something you went?
It was right before TakeOver Philadelphia. Because this was in the middle of the Gargano Almas feud.
Yeah, TakeOver Philly though, that was where they crowned the North American title, right?
No, North American title was TakeOver New Orleans.
New Orleans. See, I fucked those.
It was a WrestleMania TakeOver.
That's right. That you are right.
So I think this was Rumble prior to that Mania. I believe. Well, yeah, because yeah, actually, it was prior to that first. It was prior to that first Mania because it was prior to Roderick Strong joining the Undisputed Era. So I'm thinking a timeline here, but yeah, somewhere in that frame of the timeline. But I digress. McAfee was the guest announcer for Adam Cole versus Aleister Black. I think I may even still have some of the video on my phone from that.
Nice.
I've got a couple pictures of him, and he'd gotten into some beef with Cole prior to the show. They took video of it to air at the show just to hype up the crowd a little bit. But they had, I believe Cole was going to go after Black with a chair, and McAfee jumped up in the ring and grabbed the chair out of his hands. That was the most physical he got. But that relationship building there was what brought him to WWE, got him hired on by WWE to do color commentary and the like. He worked with Michael Cole for a while and actually got bitched out by Michael Cole at one point.
Really?
Reportedly. For not showing up in a suit. Like he wore his jorts and got yelled at. And I'm pretty sure he told Cole essentially, fuck off. I don't need to be here. I'm doing this for shits and giggles. I don't have to be here. So I don't need to take that from you. But pretty much the same thing he told the Ryan Grigson, the Colts GM, that he left because of, I don't have to be here for your benefit. Fuck you. Which is another reason I like McAfee. But yeah, all that led to him becoming a role on NXT as the hype guy, as the pre-show guy, and then led further into the Adam Cole feud, which he got in the ring now, and now he's working, and now we get this, and now he's pretty much the best heel in NXT.
And he's not only just a heel wrestler, he's also a heel manager and can play the dual role. And that's huge because I don't want this to happen, but let's say he got injured. He doesn't have to take time off TV if he doesn't want to and further that character. Right. He can go even harder in the paint just being a mic guy for Lorcan and Birch.
Can you imagine, say he broke his leg or something? Can you imagine him walking around in the air boot and crutches, cutting promos and being the fucking new age
Bob Orton, buddy.
I was going to say Bob Orton or the Weasel.
Yeah, totally. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. New age. He's got some Heenan vibe to him where he doesn't mind making an ass of himself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Underrated. So that's NXT. The women's title still kind of up in the air. Io Shirai just retained hers, so I don't think they have a number one contender for her yet. Trying to think if there's any other major angles going that I don't really recall. SmackDown's been the better show by a country mile, mostly because of Roman Reigns. The Big E and Sami Zayn feud is kind of fun.
Okay.
Because I know right now we're coming up on Rumble season here. After TLC, it'll be the next pay-per-view is the Rumble. And right now, I think betting odds have the Rumble winners as Goldberg is one of them, of course, now. But Keith Lee is mentioned in there. Big E is also a pretty heavy favorite to win the Rumble right now.
That'd be pretty cool to give Big E a title push.
There's a lot of people that kind of want to see Big E versus Roman Reigns feud and have him be the one that finally gets to go over Reigns at some point, which, truth be told, I think Reigns is probably on board with.
For sure.
I will say this, that right now I love the Kevin Owens-Reigns feud because they are perfect personalities to bounce off of each other, for one. And I'm going to throw out that Reigns on Friday night this past week hit another fucking level of heeldom in a segment backstage. Did you happen to catch that?
No, sir.
Okay. So the whole idea with Reigns' character, this head of the table mafia don, whatever you want to call him.
Sure.
He believes he provides for the WWE. He believes that he is the provider for his family. And when the top champ on WWE is good, when they're really rolling, then everybody eats better, right?
Yeah.
So he is the head of the table, and he is a benefit for everybody else. What he does benefits everyone. We're now getting back to the idea of KO's character, Kevin Owens' character, being the fight for my family, the family type. And it's been mentioned a couple times that they're going to have their TLC match. Well, Reigns made a couple comments about Owens' family, and Owens took it very personally. So we get to this backstage segment after a Owens match or Owens beatdown, I believe.
Okay.
And Owens gets jumped from behind by Reigns. Oh, no. Owens beat up Jey Uso. Owens was in the ring doing a promo and did a bunch of shit with tables, ladders, and chairs. Uso comes out at the urging of Reigns to go, teach him some fear.
Sure.
And Owens boot partied him. Reigns comes out and wants to go get involved, and Heyman talked him out of it. Heyman says, you work on the champ's time. You do what you need to do when you want to do it. And Reigns backs off. Cut backstage, Owens is walking around, and that's when he gets jumped by Reigns. Beats him up, throws him against like the containers and everything, but then turns around, looks directly into the camera. No mic, no interviewer, just grabs the camera, is looking right at it, and starts talking to Owens' wife and kids.
Oh.
And saying, you see this? This is your daddy. He puts food on your table. You need to go talk some sense into your daddy, because if you don't, I'm going to take food off of your table.
Oh.
I'm going to make sure he can't provide for you anymore.
Damn.
I'm going to be, and he's doing this with a smile the entire time. Like, this is what I'm going to do. It is cold as shit.
Sadistic.
It's awesome. It is flat out awesome.
Cool.
And again, we touched on it before, but this is the Reigns character has always been best, not necessarily as a heel, but obviously now as a heel, but in the past, when he was with the Shield, his best work was when he was the shit talker. Like in the Shield matches, you could hear him talking shit throughout the entire match.
Oh, you want to come in here starting this ruckus. Bow!
Mm-hmm. They are very much playing up on that now.
For sure.
Now, it helps that obviously you don't have crowd noise to deafen them out. They can adjust it as needed. But there's so many times in the ring where you hear what he's saying to the other person, and it's awesome.
Hell yeah.
So the funny thing is, it's kind of art imitating life and life imitating art, where Reigns is really, really, really good, and that makes the show really, really, really good. So his character isn't really wrong. And that's the best kind of heel.
Oh, yeah. When you're like, I get where he's coming from. Shit. When you can relate at all to a heel, it makes him harder to hate. And then you kind of, you know what? And I think I said it years ago, and I think I've said it on this podcast with you. Roman was going to hit a time, hopefully, where he was like his cousin, The Rock. and he was going to be a hated heel to the point where we love him, and we've arrived, and it's kind of cool to see Roman's journey and to like really think about it, you know?
It's one instance where I'm actually kind of happy we don't have crowds and we don't have the crowd noise, because I don't know if the crowds would boo him or cheer him. Because you boo him because he's a great heel, because he's very booable. But he's also that cool, fun heel where you kind of you cheer for him because you want to applaud him for, wow, that's really good work. So you don't want to Adam Cole him, which is quite possible. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's other shit going on. Obviously, Carmella's getting a SmackDown title shot. I don't really care. Mostly because it seems like her gimmick suits her. She's doing this kind of like not quite mob boss, like mafia wives kind of thing, like would make sense for her, but it's like she's doing the same recycled Emelina Liv Morgan gimmick that has failed like 2 or 3 times. It just works because it actually works for her. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't really care.
You've made me tired of your product, WWE.
Yeah. I mean, this whole year has made me tired of WWE products, so.
It's like this. It's like, all year WWE has been feeding you shit sandwiches, right? Shit sandwich after shit sandwich after shit sandwich. And then, so the one time they feed you a bologna sandwich, you're just like, nah, man, it tastes like shit still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care that the flavor's changed.
I don't know. The if Reigns is the bologna is great, but the rest of it's still shit around it. It's just shit covered bologna.
But it's going to be the episode title, Shit Covered Bologna, because holy fuck, that's a gross visual.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it very much is.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe that's a good point to stick a fork in this bad boy.
That.
No, man, I can't either. I just want to quickly take a second to thank all our Facebook viewers watching us on Facebook Live here. Or, now I'm going to spoil something here, but as of episode 10, we are now available on YouTube as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, comment, share all those goodies. You know the drill. Hopefully we entertained you folks. If you are just an audio listener, you know where we can be found. But I'll just remind you again, if this is your first rodeo, first time coming onto the show, you go to any of these podcasting platforms. It's Apple Music, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, CastBox, TuneIn, YouTube, or Amazon Music, and search Journey into Comics Network. Smash that subscribe button. You'll get our feed of amazing shows across the board. A lot of different stuff coming out there for you folks. And I think we've arrived, Buckles. We're here.
I feel like that's the best way to go out, yeah.
Excellent. Well, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of Journey into Wrestling. This has been Journey into Wrestling, Season 5, Episode 10. A shit-covered bologna. I have been Nate.
God help me, I want a cold cut sandwich now.
Ugh. Oh, no, I don't. Ugh. Anyways, I mean, even though it's kind of been a little shitty, this episode has been too sweet.
Oh, God.
Later, guys. We'll see ya.